welcome back. Today's video is a highly requested video. I recently asked you guys on Snapchat if you wanted to see a must-have brushes type video because I think there are about 7 to 8 must-have brushes that I think every girl needs in their makeup bag, and so many of you guys said yes, which I was really excited about because I think it's a really important video. And if you guys are not part of my Snapchat family, the way I do this is I ask you guys what you want to see, and I usually give you about 2 to 3 options, and the most amount of screenshots is the winner, and that's what I go ahead and film. So if you guys want to request looks, that's a great way to do it. Be sure to follow me on Snapchat. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get started. Number 1, I think every girl needs some sort of a foundation brush, and there are so many different ones out there, but my absolute favorite one is some sort of a kabuki brush. Now, I have 2 favorites at the moment, and the first one is this e.l.f. Cosmetics double-ended brush, and I love this because the bristles are very soft. They're not as dense as my second favorite brush, which I'll get into in a minute, and I think this makes a really good everyday brush, especially if you're on the go and you just want something that will blend your foundation in quickly. I think this is the brush to have. I love it because it's also double-ended, so I don't have to dig in and find a separate brush for my concealer. I just flip it around and then go ahead and use the other end for my concealer. So I think this makes a great brush. I think that for a medium, actually from light to medium coverage, it makes a really good brush. Now if you want to get into more of a heavy coverage, then I recommend something a little bit more dense, which is what I'll get into in a minute. But for everyday, soft, natural, easy to use, this is definitely a must-have. So the second foundation brush that I like is this dense kabuki brush by Sigma. It is called F80. Now I don't recommend you buying both. The reason why I'm talking about both is because you can determine what kind of coverage you want and go with the type of kabuki brush that you would need. So this one is more for heavy coverage. Even though it's not necessarily what it's marketed for, you can totally achieve a light coverage with this as well. I just find that whenever I want my foundation to be very sort of heavy and really photo ready, then I go into more of a dense kabuki brush, which is when this guy comes in. So this next brush is an absolute must-have in my opinion, and it is the Sigma F35 brush. I think it's wonderful for setting your foundation in place, for highlighting. Although they call this the tapered highlighter brush, I do so much more with this brush than just highlighting. So my favorite thing to do with this is to set my under eye area, and because it's so tapered, it just gets in the right areas. It really presses the foundation in place using a translucent powder. You also get into the corners of, you know, like your nose, your cupid's bow area, your chin. Just, it's really nice and tapered, and so setting your foundation in place is so easy with this brush. So this is my absolute favorite one, and after I'm done setting my foundation in place with the translucent powder, I then go into my face highlighter, and then I use this on the high points of my cheeks to really give it that beautiful glow, and then I use it on the tip of my nose, in between my brows, my forehead, my cupid's bow, wherever I want to highlight. Again, it is so tapered that it just works beautifully for highlighting. So this next brush is by Sigma again, and just so you guys know, I do have a discount code from them in the description box. This one is number F05, and I like this for contouring because it's really dense and sort of tapered at the same time. It's like really nice and short. The bristles are short, and so it gets into the hollows of my cheeks, blends the product while applying it, and I love that. I don't like seeing harsh edges, and I love that this is so dense that it kind of just blends everything in place as well. So this is my absolute favorite contour brush when it comes to powder contouring, of course. Next, we're going to talk about my favorite blush brushes, and one of them is by Bare Minerals, and the second one is by e.l.f. Cosmetics. They almost look identical, so this is definitely a great dupe for that, and I absolutely love them. So the Bare Minerals one is called the Dual Finish Blush and Contour Brush, and I personally like using this just for my blush, and I like to apply the blush on the apples of my cheeks, and I think the placement of just using this brush just makes it so easy. You just place it directly on the apples of your cheeks, and then you kind of blend it upwards. Now, you can use this brush to contour, as they say. I have tried it, but it's a little bit softer. So if you want a soft contour, then you can totally do that. But if you want it to be kind of harsh so that you slim down your features, then of course I recommend something a little bit more dense. So the dupe for the Bare Minerals one is the e.l.f. Cosmetics blush brush. I swear to God, it is like almost identical. The only difference is that the e.l.f. one kind of tapers up a little bit more and it's more pointy, and so contouring with this won't be as easy, but it's still a great blush brush, and I think it just makes it really easy, like I said, to apply the product on the apples of your cheeks and then kind of blend it up. It's very, very soft. The bristles just are very similar, so if you are looking for a drugstore or sort of a dupe for the Bare Minerals one, then I totally recommend the e.l.f. Cosmetics one. Okay, moving on to eye brushes. So the first one that I think every girl needs, like everyone, is some sort of a blending brush. Now MAC has a famous one, I believe it's called 217, and I used to use that for the longest time until I came across the Sigma E25 one, which I think is a total dupe, and it's obviously cheaper than the MAC one. And then another one that I really like is by Smith, and it is number 232. So any blending brush that's kind of tapered and kind of dense at the same time will do the trick. So I think this is a great brush to apply your product on the crease and blend it at the same time. So I use this a lot for transitional colors, to smoke out the crease, to really define my eye shape. So it's just a great brush for so many different reasons. You can also use this to apply your concealer. I like using this on the crease, and then I also like using this on the outer corners to kind of build the product. And then I like to go into my second favorite eye brush, and a must-have again. It is number E40 by Sigma, and again, a lot of different brands have the same type of brush, but I like this because it's big and fluffy, it does the job, and it's somewhat inexpensive. So what I like to do with this is, after I've applied my eye makeup, I like to go back into a fluffy brush like this one that's completely clean, no product added, and then really blend the harsh edges out. I think this makes a really big difference in blending your eyeshadow, and a lot of times when you see harsh edges, that's all you're missing is a fluffy brush that you can blend out all those harsh edges with. So I think this is definitely another must-have, and with this brush you can totally change your eyeshadow game, because you could just completely blend all the harsh edges and make it look very professional. So this next brush is a must-have because you need some sort of a flat brush to apply highlight on the inner corners of your eyes, your brow bone, your entire eyelids. You can do so many different things with this. And so the number for Sigma is E60, and it's a complete dupe of this one brush that I love by MAC. And unfortunately I've had this for years, so the number is completely gone, but I'll try to find it and maybe write it somewhere over here. It's just a great dense flat brush. So what I like to do with this is pick up the product, apply it on the inner corners of my eyes, and then take it to my brow bone, and then lastly I like to apply an entire color on my lids because it just presses the product in, the pigments show up better. So if you use something like this, like a fluffy brush, you're not going to get the intensity of the pigments and the intensity of the coverage that you want, whereas if you use a dense flat brush, you really are pressing that product in. So absolute must-have. Another way I like to use these kinds of brushes is to apply highlight on the inner corners of my eyes because it's so tiny. You can just get in there, press the product in, and then kind of dab it with your fingers, and then you got yourself a nice and bright inner corner. Alright, so my favorite eyeliner brush is a really big angled brush, and this is the Sigma E68 brush. I absolutely love this because it's really nice and big, so it kind of makes it easier to apply a cat eye with. I used to like the MAC angled brush. I've stopped using that because it's a little too small and too thin for my taste. I like my cat eye to be thin, but not like too thin, if you know what I mean. So I just like this one the most when it comes to eyeliner. It just wings it out easily. It's very just user friendly. So this is definitely my favorite one. I don't have another one that I can recommend as like a dupe or another brand, but this is just absolutely amazing for a cat eye. Last but not least, I do recommend a pencil brush if you like creating smoky eyes and playing out with like the bottom lash line, smoking that out as well. So for that, I recommend either the Sigma E34 brush or any pencil brush that's nice and big. Again, Smith makes amazing brushes as well. The other one that I recommend is the Naked the Naked Smoky palette came out with this brush, which is double-ended, and their pencil brush is amazing. So if you own a Naked palette, maybe look in there first and see if you have it before purchasing a new one, but it's a really good one as well. So with this, I like to just smoke out my bottom lash line, apply it from the outer corners, taking it all the way to the inner corners, and as you can see, it just really blends it so beautifully. It's just perfect for this reason. Another way you can use this is to create a very cut crease on your crease. So just apply this on your entire crease and kind of lightly blend it in place. So again, you can use this for multiple reasons or multiple ways, and for that reason, I love this. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed my 8 must-have brushes. If you have a must-have that I didn't cover, leave it in the comments below. And of course, let me know realistically how many of these brushes you would use on a daily basis. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I do upload 2 brand new videos every single week. Bye guys!